In a city where humans, zombies and vampires live peacefully, an alien invasion puts all species at war, and it's up to a young man to unite everyone against this apocalyptic threat. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Freaks of Nature, from 2015. One night in the town of Dilford, the couple Dag and Lorelei run desperately from a horde of vampires. The monsters get closer and closer and the two hide in a nearby house. However, when they get there, the place is infested with zombies. The situation worsens when the vampires arrive and a bloody fight breaks out between the two species. Dag takes advantage of the confrontation to escape with Lorelei down the stairs, but suddenly a police car on fire bursts into the room. The young man finds himself in the middle of a fight between a zombie and a vampire, but before they can attack each other, an alien ship appears in the sky. Despite all the mayhem, it wasn't always like this in the town of Dilford. The place is known for being home to vampires, zombies and humans in relative peace. But everything changed the day before. On another morning at school, Dag talks to his friend Parminder about his chances with Lorelei, the most desirable girl in school. While Parminder tries to make Dag come to his senses, the young Petra talks to her boyfriend in the corridor, the vampire Milan. At that moment, Ned, a nerdy kid, tries to open his locker, but the couple are right in front of him. The young man tries to politely ask them to move away, but Milan pushes him towards another vampire, who hits him with his notebook. Later, at lunchtime, poor Ned accidentally brushes up against Milan and he once again knocks him to the ground in front of everyone. Dag feels sorry for the young man, who used to be his friend, but he can't do anything about it. At least a zombie girl called Jenna helps Ned up. After school, the young man goes to baseball practice with his teammates. To his misfortune, the team's coach is businessman Rick, the man who fired his mother because she fought for labor rights for zombies. Despite this, Dag continues his training, where he will be the pitcher, while Chaz, Ned's brother, will be the batter. Dag is nervous, but when he sees that Lorelei is outside the court, he becomes more motivated. He then throws the ball with all his might, but it hits Chaz right in the face, and he falls to the ground badly hurt. Later that night, Petra is at the vampire party, having a romantic moment with Milan. Suddenly, the young man tries to bite her neck and turn her into a vampire, which she refuses, but Milan manages to convince her. Meanwhile, Ned has dinner with his troubled family, including Chaz, who has had his sporting career ruined because of Dag's throwing. Worst of all, his father cares more about Chaz's career than Ned, and even forces him to work with him to pay for his brother's treatment. Seeing that this would jeopardize his studies and that his parents don't care about his future, he leaves home, very angry. Nearby, Dag is with Lorelei in his room, but the girl has only visited him to buy illicit substances. When she realizes that the young man's interests lie elsewhere, she leaves. Soon afterwards, Dag's father appears in the room and sees what the young man has been doing. He and his wife try to advise their son, but their lecture does more than help. Minutes later, Ned goes to the place where the zombies live, who are considered to be the lowest class in the city. There, he meets the girl who helped him, Jenna, and the two hit it off. However, some guys drive by and throw a drink at the girl, which makes Ned angry, but Jenna doesn't mind. Realizing that zombies go about their lives without caring what anyone thinks, Ned lets the girl bite him and turns into a zombie himself. The next morning, Petra is in her room and notices the mark of Milan's fangs on her neck. Suddenly, she can no longer see her reflection in the mirror, which proves that she has turned into a vampire. Moments later, the girl goes to the market to buy a bag of blood and drinks it in front of the school. She then tries to call Milan, but the vampire doesn't return her messages or calls. At the same time, Dag is practicing his pitches on the baseball court because he wants to win Lorelei over by any means, while Ned is learning to be a zombie with Jenna and her family. Suddenly, the three young people see a strong light coming from the sky. It is emitted by alien ships, which have invaded the town of Dilford and caused terror among all the inhabitants. The next morning, humans, vampires and zombies argue among themselves about what the aliens want with the city. The problem is that none of the groups have tried to make contact with them, so they don't know what their intentions are. To make matters worse, humans and vampires begin to suspect and blame each other for this alien invasion. So each group decides to attack the other to prevent one of them from joining the aliens and taking over the world. Meanwhile, the zombies also gather, but due to their limited intelligence, they don't even know that the aliens have arrived. Ned, now a zombie but with intelligence, convinces the others that humans and vampires despise them and that they deserve more respect. Because of all this misunderstanding, at the end of the day, the inhabitants of Dilford wage war in the streets of the city. Humans, zombies and vampires attack each other, creating a completely chaotic environment. Nearby, Dag flees to his car, where he meets Lorelei. The girl doesn't seem to care what happens in the city, but lucky for Dag, she decides to give the young man's feelings a chance and the two go to his house. The confusion continues throughout the city, but Petra only wants to talk to Milan. She finally manages to find him, but the vampire doesn't want to hear any more from her and says that he only turned her for the thrill of the moment. He then leaves with his new girlfriend and Petra tries to attack him, but the vampire is stronger and throws her into a car. The girl is hurt, but realizes that she has become stronger and more resilient as a vampire. Minutes later, Dag and Lorelei are in the bedroom, about to have a romantic moment. However, two of the monsters burst through the bedroom door and put up an insane fight right next to them. Lorelei is startled by this and jumps out of the window into the garden. Dag follows her, but soon after, they are attacked by 3 vampires. Fortunately, before they become victims of the monsters, Ned's father appears before them and challenges the vampires to a fight. Despite the creature's powers and agility, the guy shows great training in martial arts and fights all 3 of them at the same time. With 2 wooden stakes, he hits a vampire in the head and then hits her in the stomach. The other 2 vampires set out to attack him, but he drives his stake into one of them and knocks him to the ground. The latter is also hit so hard that he causes the vampire to explode. Suddenly, another monster appears behind the fighter, only for him to strike back with punches and finish the enemy off once and for all. After the fight, Dag and Lorelei prepare to flee and are impressed by the man's skill. However, a group of zombies catch him off guard and devour his body. In another part of the city, Petra is walking through the countryside, still furious at having been tricked by Milan. Just then, she sees Dag and Lorelei running away from the vampires as they head towards a house. On entering, the couple meet a group of zombies led by Ned. Even though he recognizes his old friend Dag, Ned orders his companions to devour them. Just then, the vampires enter the house and the fight between the monsters begins. Petra also arrives on the scene, and when she sees Lorelei, she sets out to attack her. The vampire manages to catch the girl and bites her neck. Dag tries to help her, but he and Petra fall down the stairs. The vampire tries to run away, but the young man grabs her leg and she crashes into the piano in the living room. Dag then grabs one of the pieces of the railing, just as a vampire sees him and jumps up to attack him. Luckily, Dag manages to point the piece of wood in the vampire's direction, and it falls right on top of him and explodes into 1,000 pieces. Dag then grabs Petra and tries to take her out with his makeshift wooden stake. However, Ned jumps at him and tries to bite him. The young man manages to get rid of his zombie friend, but just then a vampire throws him away and leaps towards him. Without his weapon, Dag grabs a small fish-shaped statue and pierces the vampire, which also explodes. At the same time, Ned is captured by another vampire, but he attacks him back and pushes him away, right towards Petra. Thanks to this, the vampire is pushed onto the sofa, just in time to escape from the car that invades the house. With the battle over, only Dag, Petra and Ned remain. The 3 of them prepare to fight, but are interrupted by the arrival of the spaceships. Just then, the aliens begin to capture the residents and disintegrate them with their tentacles. Seeing this horror scene, the 3 panic, until Dag finds a secret door in the room where their teacher and his son, Stuart, are hiding. After much insistence, the 2 let the youngsters in to hide. Dag then goes to close the trap door, but when he returns, Petra and Ned have already devoured the owners of the house. Despite this, he has no choice but to stay with the 2 of them in hiding while they wait for the confusion to pass. During the night, the 3 try to distract themselves, but Petra needs to feed on blood soon. With no other choice, Dag suggests that the 3 of them get out of there, get bags of blood for Petra and leave Ned without eating brains, as this will make the zombies smarter. That way, Ned will be able to use his intelligence to find a way to drive the aliens out of the city. Everyone agrees with the plan and Dag goes to see if it's safe to leave. However, when he opens the passage, he sees an alien, who realizes his presence and tries to enter through the hiding place. The 3 of them run to the other exit of the trapdoor and reach the outside. The problem is that, as it's already daylight, Petra's vampiric body begins to burn in the sunlight. To save her, Dag takes off all his clothes and covers the girl to protect her. After that, he tells Petra to take Ned to school and that he'll meet them there soon. She obeys and runs off with the zombie, but Dag runs the other way and is knocked down by a clothesline. At that moment, several aliens begin to surround him and the young man, completely defenseless, fears the worst will happen. Sometime later, Petra and Ned arrive at the school and soon after, Dag shows up to meet them. He says that the aliens didn't see him and Ned replies that it's probably because they can't see organic matter and as he had no clothes on, he went unnoticed by the ETs. Afterwards, the 3 of them go to the cafeteria for a bite to eat. Dag seizes the moment to get back together with his old friend, but Ned throws in his face that, since the 7th grade, He has abandoned him to be close to the popular students. This resentment makes Ned leave, while Dag goes to isolate himself inside the school's boiler room. Soon after, Petra appears to try to comfort her friend and takes the opportunity to apologize for attacking Lorelai. She says she did it because her so-called boyfriend, Milan, cheated on her. Seeing that the girl meant what she said, Dag also comforts her, and the two of them show that they've had secret feelings for each other since they were pre-teens. The two of them enjoy their time together, but for a moment, Dag thinks that Petra is going to turn him into a vampire, which hurts her. She leaves and then arrives in a room, where she sees alien ships looking for something from the window. Soon afterwards, Dag and Ned go to her and they all agree that they need to get out of there. But before they do, Dag wants to make sure his parents are okay and convinces his two friends to go with him. However, in order not to be seen by the aliens, the three take off their clothes and head into town. As if that wasn't embarrassing enough, a downpour starts and they have to run to get to Dag's house. When they get there, they realize that the young man's parents aren't there. Dag fears the worst, until a noise coming from the basement catches his attention. The trio go to investigate and find the TV on the news, which reports that the aliens have created a barrier in the city and no outside help will come because of it. The situation only gets worse when, inside the house, the three encounter a huge alien. Just then, the lights go out and the alien uses its tentacles to grab Ned. Dag tries to pull him back while leaning on a log. However, the alien is too strong and pulls them both, which causes the wood to break and bring down part of the ceiling on the creature. Thanks to this, a piece of its tentacle is cut off, but a large stinger emerges from inside it. The alien throws it at Dag, but Ned gets in front of it and is hit. Petra finds an axe and begins to strike the monster to save Ned, but even though she manages to lop off its head, her friend is disintegrated by the alien. After this clash, Dag talks to Petra about his regret at having abandoned Ned. However, to their surprise, the zombie appears in the room and says that he has been teleported to a nearby place. He says he has also discovered why the aliens are invading Dilford. They want a specific substance, present in the rib meat of the famous local sandwich. So, if the three of them get hold of this substance and deliver it to the aliens, they will be gone from the planet forever. The next day, the trio go to the substances factory, owned by businessman Rick. When they arrive at the man's office, the group talks about the alien invasion and their goal of taking the substance he produces. The businessman doesn't believe the story and the atmosphere becomes tense between him and Dag. To make matters worse, Ned bites Rick's girlfriend and turns back into a mindless zombie. The businessman is enraged by this and throws the three of them out of his factory. With no one to turn to for help, Dag decides to do something daring, let himself be captured by the aliens so that they can transport him to the place where the citizens were taken. The three begin to attract the attention of two aliens nearby. As expected, the creatures use their stingers to transport the trio, who end up inside a supermarket. There, Petra finds Milan, who has been starved of blood for hours. He asks for help, but the girl takes revenge for everything he's done and punches him, knocking him to the ground. Ned then finds his father and brother, who have also been turned into zombies. The three reconcile and become a family again. Finally, Dag finds his parents still alive, as well as Lorelai, who is now a vampire. He tries to get close to her, but there is a force field separating humans, vampires, and zombies. Despite this, Dag meets Petra and Ned again on the other side of the force field and asks the zombie for help in finding a way to escape. Although he's still under the influence from feeding, Ned remembers the day he overloaded the school's computer system alongside Dag. Thanks to this, the zombie suggests that everyone run towards the force fields, so that they overload until they are destroyed. Upon hearing this plan, some of the humans order the vampires to do so, which offends them. But Dag convinces everyone that now is the time to unite for the greater good, to save their home. His speech inspires all the species and, together, they rush towards the force field and destroy it. Then everyone goes to the factory to get the substance and deliver it to the aliens. However, businessman Rick starts shooting at everyone to prevent them from getting through. At that moment, Dag appears unarmed and convinces Rick that he is the only hope of saving the town. The guy takes him at his word and lets everyone in. Inside the factory, the businessman shows them the substance that the aliens want, which is present in the rib meat, which disgusts everyone. Then the monsters also enter the factory and head for the product, which is inside a huge tank. Suddenly, the aliens reveal that those bodies were actually armor and that the real aliens are tiny beings. The little monsters then jump into the tank and start creating a huge gooey mass. The mass turns into a giant alien, who explains about his arrival on planet Earth. He was only after the bizarre substance and some butter to eat and tried to make contact with the locals. But as everyone misinterpreted the alien invasion and attacked each other, the aliens trapped everyone in the market to prevent even more chaos. Despite this explanation, Petra is angry with the alien for scaring them and invading their planet without permission. The girl's attitude is supported by the other inhabitants, who begin to harass the giant alien. In response, the creature starts attacking everyone around it, including Petra, who is thrown into a tank. However, the collision with the tank causes the hose to activate, and a jet of ammonia comes out of it. The chemical reacts with the alien's body, which slowly begins to dissolve. Seeing this, Dag points the hose at the creature and everyone does the same. The people of Dilford are about to win the battle, only for Milan to appear behind Petra and throw her away. He tries to squeeze her neck, but Dag appears and attacks the vampire. He punches Milan, but the vampire fights back and dislocates his fist. Dag is then knocked to the ground and is about to be finished. Petra tries to intervene, but she is too badly injured, and finally Milan apparently eliminates Dag. However, in the middle of the sky, the full moon appears and the young man begins a strange transformation. Dag reveals his true nature and transforms into a werewolf. With this new form and abilities, he sets out to attack Milan. The vampire tries to counterattack with his pocket knife and hits Dag, but is thrown across the room. Even so, Milan doesn't give up and jumps towards the werewolf. Fortunately, Dag manages to dodge and the vampire goes for a dumpster with a huge piece of wood that pierces him. Milan explodes into pieces and the battle comes to an end. Then the residents stop firing the ammonia and the alien is reduced to a tiny mass. Even so, he manages to activate his spaceship and enters it. Before leaving for space, the alien fires a nuclear bomb to blow everyone up. At that moment, Ned manages to catch it and then hands it over to Dag. Thanks to his throwing skills, the young werewolf throws it back into the ship, which explodes with the alien inside. The next day, everything returned to normal in Dilford, and thanks to the events that took place, humans, zombies and vampires live together as equals. Meanwhile, at school, Lorelei tries to ask Dag out, but the young man is looking for his new girlfriend, Petra. Before the two go out to spend time together, they meet Ned, who is dating Jenna and now has a good relationship with his brother. In addition, Ned and Dag have finally resumed their friendship. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.